Hey guys, happy Mother's Day and welcome to my channel. Today I have a subscriber request in store, but first make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet and click the notification bell. It helps me out a lot and you'll catch all my weekly uploads. This week's request comes from my own mom, for Mother's Day, and it's the Tommyknockers, her very favorite Stephen King sci-fi horror movie, horror, that was followed up with a very weak and half-assed TV miniseries released in 1993 that really would do well to be redone by either Hulu or Amazon Video, in my opinion. I couldn't find as much still shots from the movie as I wanted for this video because it was such a flash in the pan, even at that time, that I'd be surprised if anyone remembers it. Alright, this huge book and this so-called adaptation share characters, the main idea of Bobby Anderson tripping over a long-buried spaceship during a walk around her property and committing literally the rest of her life to digging it up, and then everyone in the town of Haven getting inventive and spitting out all their teeth, and a few miles away in the town of Haven, little Hilly's magic trick going completely awry, leading to his brother Davy going missing and Hilly getting very sick. That's about it for similarities. Now I'm going to save the best for last and describe what's only in the movie first, because this won't take long. I'm also doing this entirely by memory, which goes back almost 30 years, so bear with me. Okay, so in the movie there's more about the post office love triangle. There's only one chapter committed to that in the book, and then the story of Joe and Becca Paulson is over just as quickly as it started. In the movie, Becca is a deputy sheriff, not a churchy housewife, and the Paulsons are a little younger in the show, whereas in the book they're old enough to have a grown-up son in college. Also, only in the show, Becca is getting the news of Joe's affair with Nancy from the host of this tacky dating game show host, instead of a Jesus statue as stated in the book. After she rigs up the remote to electrocute him, the effect is watered down to him just falling down dead after being zapped, and Becca winds up in a padded cell. In the book, he implodes, just like the botched execution on the Green Mile, and he bursts into flames. And in an instant fit of regret, Becca tries to help him and dies from electrocution herself as their house catches fire and burns to the ground. There is less about the town constable Ruth. In the book, she's widowed, and her last name is McCausland. In the show, she's single and goes by her maiden name Merrill, obviously. Just as she gives into romantic intrigue with Butch, he's killed off in the explosion that was supposed to take her out in the book, and her doll collection comes to life and she disappears. More on where she turns up later. In the book, she's trying to get out of town just as all the pandemonium is on the incline, but there's this force field surrounding the town as it borders that won't let her leave. She winds up back at her office and hears her dolls talking to her, and then she dies in an explosion. There is more about Nancy Voss, the postmistress and resident husband thief. In the book, there's not much more about her beyond her affair with Joe Paulson and her mail sorting invention. In the show, she also invents a ray gun with her lipstick and vaporizes anyone in her way. And unlike everyone else involved in the spaceship, she doesn't spit out any teeth. In fact, her appearance is not marred at all. But she is quickly strangled to death by an old man in restraints. There is a ridiculous gathering of the affected that resembles a cult meeting in the town square, followed by an even more ridiculous mob chase scene when they catch guard observing them. The physical toll that the unearthing of the spaceship takes on everyone in Haven is watered down. In the show, they spit out a few teeth and look like a bunch of meth heads. In the book, most of them go completely toothless. The skin starts to become transparent and change consistency a little bit. And the most affected is Bobby at ground zero. We'll get to what happened to her soon. There is a little more on the Brown family in the show to highlight how accident-prone Hilly is, and also to highlight the antagonistic relationship between Ev and Bryant. And now for the fun part, what is only in the book. The first 164 pages is just about the foremost characters, Bobby and Guard. How she stumbled over a piece of metal, and it turned into an obsession to dig the whole thing up. Then it cuts to Guard's reading tour, and how he messes it up by getting drunk and into a heated argument with a bunch of corporate fat cats over the dangers of nuclear energy. It turns into a bar fight, and we cut to Guard waking up on a beach, covered in his own vomit, and his shoes missing. He gets this gut feeling that his old girlfriend Bobby is in some kind of trouble, and makes every effort to get back to Haven to see her. This includes hitchhiking. In the movie, he's in recovery for alcoholism. In the book, he most certainly is not, and he stays drunk pretty much throughout this whole story, which may have very well saved him from the obsession with the spaceship that took over the entire town. That and the surgical plate in his skull. When he reaches Bobby's house, he sees that she has souped up her truck so it has a digger on the front. And she's made several home improvements that are way beyond modern technology, such as her water heater being powered by some kind of strange solar-looking orb of light rather than a pilot lamp. And when he sees her, she's at least 30 pounds underweight, missing several teeth, and starting to lose her hair, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. As the unearthing of this spaceship progresses, everyone else in town is spitting out their teeth and getting creative with electronics, such as converting a soda machine into some kind of projectile weapon. They're also hearing each other's thoughts. The only people who aren't affected by it have some kind of surgical metalwork in their head, namely Guard and Bobby's sister Anne, who her role in the book shares some of the role covered by Ruth in the show. There is also a highly competitive reporter just chomping at the bit to get a story on what is going on in Haven, and he almost loses his life to get this story. He pukes up a ton of blood and loses several teeth, and he's the one who gets shot up by projectile flying soda cans. Alright, rather than some ridiculous alien cult meeting fit for Mystery Science Theater 3000, there's a big shootout at Bobby's when Guard sees how far she has taken this. Having her dog, her sister, and Ev Hillman all wired up like routers with cables strung right into their brains like battery chargers. The latest stage of the effects of this spaceship has on Bobby's corporeal self is described in a chapter when her battle axe of a sister comes to confront her. It doesn't just stop at some lost teeth and hair. Behold. She didn't want to see. Suddenly Anne didn't want anything but to run. And she kept running until she was far from this shadowy place and this town where they left you fainting all day at the side of the road. But it was too late. She saw the blurred movement of her younger sister's hand, and the lights went on at the same moment the robe dropped with a soft rustle. The shower had washed off the makeup. Bobby's entire head and neck were transparent and jelly-like. Her breasts had swelled bulbously outward and seemed to be merging into one single nippleless outcropping of flesh. Anne could see dim organs in Bobby's stomach that looked nothing at all like human organs. There was fluid circulating in there, but it looked green. Behind Bobby's forehead, she could see the quivering sac of a mind. Bobby grinned toothlessly. "Welcome to Haven, Anne. she said. She felt herself stepping backward in a spongy dream. She was trying to scream, but there was no air. At Bobby's crotch, a grotesque thatch of tentacles like seagrass wavered from her V, a place where her V had been anyway. Anne had no idea if it was still there or not and didn't care. The sunken valley which had replaced her crotch was enough. That and the way the tentacles seemed to be pointing toward her, reaching for her. All right. The book and the movie come together very briefly at the end, when Guard flies the spaceship away. But the book doesn't specify if he was or was not killed, just that he's millions of light years away. And Bobby and several other people are dead. Guard killed her himself when he saw that her humanity was gone. But there is a happy ending with Davy Brown freed and safe, and cuddled up with Hilly as he recovers in the hospital. The movie ends with Guard blowing up the ship while still in it, and Bobby screaming "No!" in this ridiculous dramatic fashion like Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith. Then she and her dog just get up and go back to the house. And that is all for the Tommyknockers. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment and smash the like button. And I'll see you back next week for The Time Machine.